Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic here. Anytime you see the Prince shake my head gif, just know who's wildin' today's stream is coming. That's the signal. That's the bat signal. That's the that's the signal. All right. Um, you know it's coming, and we're gonna talk about whatever we're gonna talk about. All right, whatever's in the title. I don't think I put it in. I don't think I put in the topic in the last one, but I think from now on, it's going to be in the title. That's going to go on, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right. We got to talk about this because I always have to talk about it. This is something like I am always going to speak my mind about. But I think one thing that I'm kind of starting to realize, and it's really important, is like there are people that will literally sit there and hear what you are saying, and it will go one through one ear and out the other. It will literally go out through one ear and out the other. And that much is clear. That much is clear, right? Because you could have conversation after conversation after conversation after conversation about queerness, about sexuality, about the transgender experience, gay experience, bi experience, pan experience, whatever, right? Non-binary, whatever, non-binary, like genderqueer, like all that stuff. You can talk about all those things, and you can be as clear, I think, as possible, and it won't matter. When you're talking to certain people, it just won't matter. So you have to make a decision, right? You have to make a decision to say, okay, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but who are these conversations going to be pointed towards? If you consume this particular amount of energy, is this going to be helpful? You have to think of that, right? Because you're a person, you have a finite amount of energy in any given day, right? You got a life, you got stuff to do. You know what I mean? And this is not to say like, oh, don't be an ally, all the time or anything like that. I'm saying like you are a person. Like you literally cannot be like an ally 24/7 in a sense that like you can't do like you can't like have those conversations with people 24/7, right? Like you need sleep and you need to make sure that you have some semblance of a life and that you're conversing with people and that you're doing all these different things. Like you have to understand which people are worth talking to about certain things and which people are not. You have to know when to move on and when not to move on, and when to be like, yo, let's keep talking about this. This is an issue. This is a problem. We got to talk about this. When it comes to homophobia and transphobia particularly, like, man, oh man, it is rough out here for trans folks, for queer folk, for the LGBTQ community. Like it is rough, and that's an understatement, right? And I say it's an understatement because literally, and I say this all the time, literally, like people within the LGBT community are dying because of just because they're existing in that, right? Just because they're living their truth in that. They might just be walking in on a stoop, like not a stoop, but like on the corner, right, the sidewalk or whatever, and they might dress a certain way, and a group of dudes, normally dudes, right? This is like normally dudes, right? Will just be like, man, we'll just be like, man, I'm gonna mess up that person. I'm gonna jump that person. I might even kill that person. Literally, in 2018, and in 2017, and in 2016, and in 2015, and so on and so forth. Like, this isn't a game. And I think the thing that, again, that bothers me is like, when I have conversations with some people, it's like, this ain't no game. And I think a lot of people understand that. Like when I'm talking about this stuff, y'all know. I think a lot of y'all know. This is not a game to me. It shouldn't be a game to anybody. But I think to a lot of people it's a joke, you know, and it's easy for them to make those jokes. And like, and in some ways, like I just pity, like, you know, in some ways I pity people like that because it's like, damn, like you must, something must have happened for you not to like be able to conceptualize those experiences and those harmful incidents as not a joke, as something that is to be taken seriously. Like there's got to be something off or wrong or whatever. I don't know what it is, but you got to deal with that. I ain't no therapist. I ain't no psychiatrist. I ain't no psychologist. I ain't none of that. I'm a teacher, right? I'm a YouTuber. I ain't no therapist. That's not in my job description. You know what I mean? And whenever, like, it's just like there's just so many things. And I'm gonna be really just straightforward here. There are just things, and when I say that people say sort of like dumb things, I mean that literally people aren't thinking in a certain way, or they're not thinking hard enough when they make particular statements. You're not thinking hard enough. You're not. Because if you feel like trans folks and the LGBTQ, like let's say the LGBTQ community is like forcing some sort of agenda upon you, like you're like thinking, like your thinking is so warped and so ridiculous. Like I might not be able to help you, right? I might not need to have a conversation with you. I might just have to be able to help the people that I can help, have the conversations with people that I want to have conversations with, and move on from you. I don't need that. I don't like, right? I can make this video. I can have these conversations. Like I can do that. I can put this out there and do that work. That's fine. I like, it's a sort of love-hate relationship, right? Because it's like, I love doing this work because I know that at some level people do understand, right? But on another level, it's like, I have to do this work because people don't understand, right? That's what I'm talking about. So when people are like, oh, it's just identity politics. What are you talking about? What do you mean when you be like identity politics? Like, how do you live in this country without being enmeshed in some sort of identity politic? How do you do that? Feel free to let me know. How do you move within the United States or any other sort of country and be like, I'm just or what are you, some ball of energy? You just moving through the cosmos? That's what you're doing? With no identity, just like, what's that ball of energy? I don't know. That's not what you're doing. Right? This idea that you can like somehow exist outside of a network of identity politics is absurd. It's an absurd like thing to say. Like it really is. Like it makes zero sense, but people will just blah without even thinking about what they're saying. They don't even think about what they're saying, right? Well, usually when people say that, they're really zeroed in on a thing that they just don't like, right? If they don't like the thing, if they don't like the way that a certain topic or whatever is being discussed, then they start talking about identity politics and blah, 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 with zero like regard for like just introspection and like reflection and thinking about what they're saying, right? No, you're not okay with it. You cannot be like, I'm okay with it, and then feel like there is an LGBTQ agenda and they're ramming this stuff down my throat. No, that's not that. No. Please do not insult my intelligence, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can't be okay with it. Sorry. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. It isn't. It isn't. All right. Like, no. You can't be like, oh, I'm okay with, LGBTQ, like with conversations about conversations involving gay people, but just the idea that gay people have sex makes me uncomfortable. just that notion, just that it exists, that's a thing, makes you uncomfortable. Nah, you're not okay with it. Stop lying to yourself and stop insulting the intelligence of people out here who know you lying. You lying. That's what's going on. Stop it, please, please. I'm not here for that, and especially now, like I gotta move on, man. I can't continue to have these conversations with particular people who just don't care. That much is clear, right? And are directly opposed to what I'm espousing, right? That's now. That's over with. That's over with. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in having conversations that go nowhere. Not interested. All right. If you want to move on, go to some other YouTuber that's just like not gonna talk about any of that stuff and like, you know, be bigoted and homophobic and transphobic and all that. Fine. Don't matter to me. Don't matter to me. I'm good. It really does not. Okay. If anything, what it does, it just declutters like this platform, this space, this safe space. If you in here and you saying bull, you saying nonsense, nah. Because there are other people that are here, right, that I talk to on a daily basis that come through this channel, that exist in this space, and should be able to feel like people aren't coming at them and trivializing their existence and trivializing their truth and their experience and their identities. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Not here. You don't get to do that here. You don't get to do that here. Nope. You know, all right. The thing for me, I think that bothers me is like when we get to sort of like the Dwight Howard stuff. I'm not even gonna get into the Dwight Howard stuff. I think that's just gonna be like I might do like a third sort of stream to talk about that. But I think this is gonna be a general stream. One, because I gotta go pick up some laundry. I'm gonna go pick up some laundry. I got life. I got stuff to do. All right. So I think what I'm gonna do is have another stream at some point, maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime during the week, where I specifically get into that. But what I really sort of want to get into is this idea that, like, look at what happened. Like, and I'm going to get into Dwight Howard stuff very generally. Look at what happened when Dwight Howard was supposedly outed, right? Because yes, in a general sense, right, we don't know if this stuff is true, blah, blah, blah. On my end, I believe it. I believe that stuff is true. I do. Right? I do. Very much so. Okay? But I think what's even sort of more important to sort of talk about is, at least right now in this stream, right? Because I can't get into the sort of specifics of that stuff. But what's even more important to talk about, I think, for the time being, is look at the reaction. Did you see the just nauseating reaction on Twitter? Jokes flying around, right? As if Dwight Howard is like some cardboard cutout that has no heart or existence or anything like that. It was ridiculous, absurd, disappointing. No, because I expected that, and there are people who would they're just gonna be trash. They're gonna say trash things and they're gonna be trash. I'm not disappointed in those people because I know they trash. Can't be disappointed in trash. Trash is gonna be trash, right? But it was like, man. People couldn't even wrap their heads around the idea that maybe Dwight Howard never couldn't feel like he could come out, right? Because of this reaction that just occurred, right? Because of this massive Twitter reaction that occurred, right? Imagine if he came out, what he would have come out to. Jokes on his Twitter feed, jokes on his Instagram, jokes all over the place, right? There would have been some conversation by sports media that would have been absolutely useless, because sports media generally doesn't really know how to have these sorts of conversations when it comes to the LGBTQ community. They don't know. They have no idea. They have no idea. No, the jokes aren't funny because they trivialize the gay experience. For me, when I see that, these jokes are just so revealing. Every time you see a gay joke, people are like, "Oh, Dwight Howard must be having you know, this kind of sex or whatever. This is exactly how a sex life looks like, blah, 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 whatever. One, you don't know that. You should never make assumptions about how people have sex. Probably shouldn't make an assumption about that for the most part, right? There are things that, yeah, you probably know, but even then, you don't. You don't, unless somebody tells you exactly what's going on in their sex life. Don't assume nothing. Don't talk to them about that stuff. Don't make comments about that stuff. Don't. You wouldn't do that if you were your friend, right? Like if it was someone like that, you would know, like there's a certain level of like respect that's owed to certain people that you know, that you converse with, right? I'm not gonna go to my one of my best friends and be like, hey, so what exactly happened in the bedroom? What were some of the moves? Like, no, I'm not doing that, right? But it's so easy for people to do that with figures, right? With figures, with people that they deem to be beyond existing in human form. It's like, right? It's like Dwight Howard's no longer a person, right? He's an object. And it's, again, it's really key. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't want people to treat me like I'm an object. I'm pretty sure y'all don't want people to treat you like like you're an object. Pretty positive. All right. I'm like, it was really, really bad. It was bad. No, the thing was like, I think, okay, so there are a few things that happened. I'm gonna get into that in another stream because I don't have that much time. I have like a couple of more minutes. But it was so bad. And again, people couldn't even like get out of their own way. They couldn't even get out of their own homophobia and their own transphobia to be like, wow, maybe when I make jokes and I make fun of somebody for being a part of the LGBTQ community, maybe, right, allegedly, like, that might hurt that person. Again, I'm always telling people, put on that empathy hat. Put on that empathy hat. Let's do that. All right? People don't know how to, like, it's like, come on. All right? Like, come on. Or you gotta, like, you gotta, too many of us have to be better. You gotta be better. No, this is just, I always focus on one like particular thing, but usually when I do Who's Wylin, like I generally focus on one thing. But it's like people just, that homophobia, it's like, it's a yikes. And I think before I go, like I just want to say, like, no, this is not something that like you have to be uninformed about, right? Like you can go, like you can Google, you can read, you can have conversations with people, you can watch videos, you can do all of that stuff. But again, people don't want to do that stuff. And it's like, if people don't want to do that stuff, if you go and you tell people like, hey, go read some of this stuff, or hey, Google some stuff, check out some YouTube clips and videos, conversations, seminars, whatever, do that work. But if they don't want to do that work and you ask them to do that, like, right, and they don't want to do that, and you do all you can and like introduce them to information and stuff like that, and they don't even want to do that stuff, don't waste your time. Don't waste any more of your energy. Don't waste any more of your energy. Don't waste any more of your energy, because that's important. It's important that you maintain your energy reserves for more important things. It is. It is. Right. And to quickly note, the person who accused Dwight Howard of all of those just like awful things, right? Whom I believe, right? Who I believe, right? Like that person's a gay man. Like that person, like he put out a tweet, said, "I'm a gay man," like cleared it up. So in a sense, like that we talk about transphobia, we're not talking about transphobia, like we're not talking about transphobia in the sense of like this person is a trans woman and da da da. No, we're talking about like this person is a gay man. But regardless of that fact, right? When people assumed that this person was a trans woman, it was bad. It was bad. People were like, just throwing out the teeth, right, the transgender slur, like ugh. It was all over the place. all over the place. It's so bad. And people just like, again, people just are like, yes, too many of y'all aren't knowledgeable about this stuff. Like you gotta be more knowledgeable about stuff. If you're gonna have certain conversations, if you want to have productive conversations about these things, read more, talk to people more. You want to DM me to have conversations about this stuff? Feel free to DM me if you can. Feel free to do that. I'm not gonna have like a conversation on like a Twitter like thread or anything like that because I don't like to do that because like there's a limit to how much I can type, how much I can explain, stuff like that. It's exhausting. I don't want to do that. If you want to DM me, that's cool. If you want to have a Hangouts call, you want to set that up, be my guest. I'm always up for that. If you want to have right, something like that, like feel free. Feel free. All right. But I'm not going to do any more conversations like outside of my channel about this stuff. Unless I'm like, oh, okay, this person, like, I think this person probably like gets it. This person is fairly like knowledgeable about this particular topic or whatever. In this particular topic, right? Like I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. You know? I don't want to do it anymore. I don't. And I don't have to. I don't have to. Why? Because I got my own channel. I can do that here. So I'm not gonna do that anymore. You know what I mean? And people like, and again, like I could like if you want to have conversations with me about certain things regarding like, let's say, sexuality, gender, those kinds of things, that and the LGBTQ community, that's fine. I'm just gonna let you know there are only certain ways that I'm gonna have those conversations. But y'all need to find more people to be able to have those conversations with. It's telling, right? It's extremely telling when you can't find other people other than myself to have those conversations with. That's telling. That should tell you like, might I be inadvertently or aggressively, right, avoiding the people within the LGBTQ community? Right? It's telling. It's telling. You know, so you gotta do that work. You gotta try to learn. You gotta try to talk to some other people. You gotta try to do that stuff. I ain't the only person out here. I ain't the only queer person out here. Right? I'm not the only bi person out here. I'm not. There are a lot of other people out here. People that I talk to all the time. So we gotta figure that out. We gotta figure that out. Okay. But I'm just kind of done with like just consistently like talking about this stuff and then seeing almost no shift in the way that people sort of make certain moves, the way they talk about these topics. Honestly, I don't really see it. I don't really see it. You know what I mean? And that's a waste of my time and energy. When it gets to a place where I feel like nothing is happening, that's a waste of my energy and time. I'm not wasting my energy and time. I'm 30. I'm not doing that. Maybe if I was 16, maybe. But even then, I'd probably be like, man, I got stuff to do. Right? But I'm 30 now. I ain't got no time for that. I ain't got no time for that. You know what I mean? I ain't got no time for that. So again, you have to do the work of seeking out people that you can have conversations with. All right? That's what I'm saying. Do that. Do that work. You can do that work and you can find those people, and it's going to take time. It might take time. You know how long it took for me to find people? It took quite some time. I didn't really find people that I could talk to about that stuff really until I was like 22, 23, honestly. You know? It takes time. You got to take the time. All right? That's on you, Samra. That's on you. If you don't want to do that work, again, stay where you are. Do that. Do that. Again, if people don't want to do the work, you're right. Again, I'm not wasting my time and energy if it's very clear that you're not getting what I'm espousing and what I'm trying to point you towards and what I'm trying to show you and all these different things. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to do it. It's a waste of my energy, man. All right. I have friends like, and if a friend is like trying to explain to me, you know, the politics and like the ramifications of thinking in a particular way, then it's like, you know what I mean? Then it's like, yo, go, you know, and wait, and I don't get that stuff, and I refuse to get that stuff. I'm not gonna expect my friend to keep doing that work, right? Because that puts a strain on my friend, right? Why would I do that? Right, but at the same time, right, there should be a way in which like you got to be able to listen, you got to be able to see certain things, you got to be able to connect the dots in a certain way. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like it's not my job to do that work for you. You got to do that work. You have to do that work. If you don't want to do that work, man, I already said it early in the stream, right? If people don't want to do that work, I ain't wasting my energy. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know? And it's like people like, right? It's like when it comes to a heteronormative like idea of the structure of our like society and the space that we live in, and particularly right, that is the United States. It's like that people are like, oh yeah, man, women, yo, we could talk about that all day. We could talk about sex between men and women all day. That's easy. When it comes to anything outside that particular purview, all of a sudden people are like, oh, and we have to talk about that reaction. We have to talk about why that occurs. Where does that stem from? Right, and then when people are like, oh, I feel that way, but I'm totally okay with the stuff outside of the heteronormative scope. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Clearly, because you have a physical averse reaction to those, to the existence of those people, of us. You know what I mean? Like, you're not okay with that stuff, but you can try to convince yourself that you're okay with that stuff. You can keep telling that to yourself like it's some sort of mantra or whatever. You're not okay with it. You're not okay with it. First, you got to acknowledge you're not. Then you got to figure out why that is. And then you got to figure out why that's not good. Ain't good. You mean? No. I wouldn't say both sides are starting not to care. I think my side is always going to care. We're always going to try to change people's minds. Why? Because people vote in this country. And for things to change from a political standpoint, from a legislative standpoint, we need people to change their minds about things. So they can vote on, so that our lives could be better. So we ain't stopping nothing, right? We care probably. No, I wouldn't say too much. We don't care too much. I think we care, right? Because like things got to change. You know what I mean? No, we say you're tired. That means like I'm tired. That means I stopped working. You could work and be tired. That's a thing. You know, like come on. That's why when people start to tell me, oh, you know, you can, you know, it doesn't matter what I think. I'm like, yes, it does, because like especially in the United States, especially in a democratic country, especially when you decide to vote or not to vote based on how you feel about particular topics. Stop patronizing me with comments like that. Please don't insult my intelligence. All right? It matters. It matters. It does. Right? And you may feel like you're one person, but when there are literally millions of people that feel the way that you do and vote in a particular way, then it matters on a political scale, right? On a state level, on a federal level. So that's why, again, when people keep telling me, oh, you know, if I don't vote, it doesn't matter, like, stop, please. please, please, please. All right. It's like, man, and you know, because like I think like lately I've tried to be a bit more calm about certain things when it comes to like, let's say being on a channel or something like that, or having a conversation like on someone else's channel or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I try to be like calmer, I think, and I try to make sure that like I avoid having certain types of conversations because I know like those conversations probably won't go anywhere and whatever. But it's my channel, so if I feel like I want to, you know, just do that, then I can do that. And you know, I'm trying to be better about like acknowledging when I'm in a certain headspace, noting like what I'm saying, what I'm trying to espouse, what I'm trying to disseminate, right? What kind of information I'm trying to disseminate, and how to do that in a smart way. You know what I mean? No. The problem is like, I think here's the thing, right? This idea that like people have to sort of find common ground. It's like there are instances where yes, like I think finding common ground is very much so a possibility, and that's fine, right? Like let's say maybe you have opinions about a like certain types of opinions about, let's say a piece of literature that you read, right? About a book that you read or whatever, or plates that you bought, right? That you and your partner bought for your home or whatever, right? You can find common ground, right? That's like whatever, right? When it comes to things that are just like, for me, it's just like, nah. There's like the LGBTQ community should not be shunned or treated in particular ways, just because of the, you know, they are who they are, just because they are who they are, and we are who we are, right? Like that shouldn't happen, period. So we have to take steps for that not to happen. I'm not trying to find common ground that's sort of somewhere in the middle of that. No, it ain't up for debate. Right? The second people start saying, oh, but it's all for debate, we got to figure out, one, we got to figure out exactly what you're talking about. And if I feel like, right, and if I know, and if I've looked, and if I've read the books, and I've talked to the people, and I've done that stuff, and I know, like, yo, the LGBTQ community deserves basic human rights, that's not up for debate. That's just it. That's just it. Ain't no, oh, well, you know, maybe they shouldn't be, you know, in films so much. Maybe they shouldn't be in TV shows so much. I'm like, do you not realize, like, one, how dumb an idea that is? One, because there are so many straight people in everything. In literally everything. They're not the only people that are out here. Right? There are so many white people in everything. In all of the media, all the different mediums. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What are we talking about? Thank you, Kendall. What are we talking about? What is this middle ground? What does that look like? Yeah, but that's like, it's empty. It's empty words, my guy. It's empty words. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? What are you like? What are you talking about? What are you proposing? What are you saying? I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm saying. I know what I want for the LGBTQ community. I know that I want that to happen, period. Period. That's what we want. And that's what we deserve. And that's what we should have. Period. Ain't no middle ground. Right? Right? The other side, the flip side of that is that we don't deserve that, or that we shouldn't have that. Which is not true. No. No. So what are we talking about when we say equality? Everybody should be equal. Yeah. What are you talking about? What how do you move from that to something that's a bit more substantial? Or substantial, sorry. Right? How do you move from this just like to substance? That's the thing, right? And this community is very, very clear in what we want. Very, very clear in what we want. We're very, very clear. If you don't want that, see ya. And if you ain't gonna change, see ya. We don't have to have a conversation about that ever. Right? Yeah. How do you get out of the just like tidal wave after tidal wave of shows with white cis het couples, friendships, all those types of things? How do you escape that? Every single year there are at least, I want to say, 5 new shows, right? Mel, I'm lower the number a bit, just so I know like I'm on it. There are at least 3 new shows that are at the center of them cis-het couple or cis-het friendship, right? With the token LGBTQ character or characters in the background supporting cis-het protagonists, like all the time, you know. And then there's like the one show out of like just the dearth of straight cis-het protagonist TV shows, YouTube channel, whatever, and people are like, but why is this such a thing? I'm like, do you not realize like just the nonsense that's coming out of your mouth when you say, oh, well, there's just so much as LGBTQ stuff. Like what? As compared to what? The millions, just like the ridiculous number of straight shows? The Super Drag show is okay. You know, I haven't watched it yet, but the trailer looked okay. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, this is amazing, but I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I just haven't watched it yet. I generally don't watch like Netflix shows for the most part. She-Ra, the only reason I started watching She-Ra was one, because people were really talking about it, and 2, because there were a few friends on my Twitter feed that were really amping it up and saying like, oh, it's so good, it's so great, I gotta check it out. I just recently checked it out. I checked it out maybe like a week and a half ago. Like that's when I started watching it. And I love it. It's dope. But it's like, we gotta understand like why is it so odd to see those shows, right? Why do we have such a reaction when we're like, whoa, that's different. That's odd. That's other, right? That's other. One, because there are so many basic shows that do the same thing. Right? Nobody's forcing you to watch it. This is the thing. This is the problem that I have. People keep making these statements. Nobody's making these statements, man. Nobody's saying, yo, you better watch this show. Nobody's doing that. Who are these people that are thrusting the show in front of your face, actually in front of your face? Who's doing that? Who took their laptop and was like, bam, here, you better watch that or I'm kicking you out the house? Ain't nobody doing that. No. Why? Because what you do, right, is what a lot of people like you do, is you sexualize things in a sense, right, in terms of like sexual acts, and you do that in a way that it is not. It's not sexualized, right? She-Ra or what's a better show? That might have like queer characters who are just friends. There are books, right? There's a what's the book? Drama, I think, is a book, is a comic, I believe, right, or a graphic novel or whatever, right? That's a book that kids read all the time, and they love that, and they fine with it, and they chilling. The kids aren't like, oh, does that mean they're going to have, like, the kids aren't like, oh, if this boy likes the other boy, or this girl likes the other girl, or this person likes this other person, does that mean that they're having sex? The kids ain't doing that. That's how I know, right? That's whenever people make those statements, that's how I know they don't teach children, or they don't interact with children much. They don't with a bunch of children, right? They don't. Because you would know that kids love these shows. And they don't go straight to, oh, these two gay characters that are a couple, they must be having this type of sex or something. Like, they're not thinking about that. Why? Because they're in the 4th grade or the 5th grade. They're not thinking about that. Not in that way. No, I know that kids are more advanced, I'd like to believe, but like when we talk about that, we often talk about how they can conceptualize things and how they can make certain connections, right? On an intellectual sort of level. Yeah, that's true. But when we're talking about this particular thing, the key thing to remember is that kids, most of the time, don't have a particular idea, especially when you're talking about elementary school kids, kids that are much younger, right? They don't have a clue as to what sex is, what it looks like, that they're even supposed to be doing those acts at their particular age, right? But when it comes to things like, let's say, like, right, like that's not okay. But when it comes to parents in, you know, a TV show embracing or kissing or whatever, that's fine. Yeah, we gotta show that. We gotta show the mom and the dad kissing, right? And TV shows with sexual innuendos, heteronormative sexual innuendos, that's fine. That's cool. But when it comes to the stuff, when it comes to Sombra, shut up. Sombra, you done. All right. Like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You want to unfollow me and follow me. You want to get out of here, get out of here. I'm done. We're not having a conversation. We're not having a conversation. I'm having a conversation with the chat and I'm talking, but we done. We done. That's fine. Don't matter to me. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the stuff, right? It's okay when it's heteronormative to have the kissing and the idea of a husband and a wife, and the idea of parents sleeping in the same bed and those things. That's fine. That's not a big deal. It's like, right? But when it comes to people of the same sex, then it's a problem. All of a sudden, kids are going to be like, oh, they're the same sex. We're going to figure it out. We can figure out what? What's so toxic about that? You know what I mean? Please. Please. I'm not concerned about it coming with time. I'm concerned about the fact that people think that that's not okay, period. And that those people generally will die thinking that it's not okay. Right? Nah, I don't want it to take time. I'm talking about it now. In 2018, when we already had a conversation, right? We already have precedents, right? Once something has shifted, right? The whole thing, like, it's like, dude, you should be smart enough to know, like, oh, you got to learn from the past. You got to see that happened in the past, and that we probably shouldn't do that because that wasn't good, right? No. Obviously, I can't control what people think, but a lot of the times what people think is stupid and ignorant and uninformed. When it comes to this particular topic, often, way too often, oftentimes this stuff is uninformed, dumb. I'm not concerned about trying to control what people think. I'm trying to show people that, yo, like, what you're thinking is ridiculous. That's what I'm okay with. Nah, Dustin, stop. We've already had this conversation. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in where this is going. And I think you know that. I'm not interested. Not interested. Right? But again, it's like, yo, people treat trans people like dog turd. They treat too many people within the LGBTQ community like they are lesser than, which is absurd. It's an absurd thing, right? It's absurd. No, Kendra, leave Dustin alone. This is not a conversation. It's a waste of your time. I'm sorry, but like, and Dustin knows it, right? Like, we've had these conversations in the past. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Nah, don't give me that. It's a matter of perspective. No. When it comes to, again, basic human rights, when it comes to how people should be treated, people shouldn't be treated like garbage. People that, right? When you say like that's okay when it comes to the heteronormative notion of sexuality and gender and those things, that's fine. That's cool. When it comes to anything outside of that particular scope, nah, that's not okay. Screw that. No, that's treating people as lesser than. That's not even lesser than. That's just like erasure, right? Ugh. Or just like willful ignorance that leads to erasure, which is awful. You know what I mean? Nah, because when you phrase it like that, you're not fooling nobody, right? I'm talking about agree or disagree, like you're not fooling nobody. I'm sorry, you're not fooling nobody. You ain't fooling nobody. All right. Like, too many people don't even want, like, you don't even want to think. You don't even want to try to like conceptualize certain things or understand things or like when you can't even say that that's okay, that that's fine, that it's, you know, cool, like, nah. Because when you say you don't agree with it, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Nah, it's fine. They were moderators. Oh, Kendra. I forgot to add you as moderator. Kendra. Yeah. Yeah. No, discussion can't be had when it comes to this. I'm talking on my channel and I'm espousing what I believe, and that's cool. This stuff, I already told y'all. This is a waste. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time. Waste of my time. All right. And we know that. We know that. Nah, stop, please. As long as you're comfortable with who you are. No, we can't be comfortable because, again, people have to make sure, like, if there's like a piece of legislation that says like, or some sort of bill that's trying to be passed that gives the LGBTQ community certain rights that, let's say, straight people have, right? Then it's like, you better like vote for it, right? We got to make sure that people vote for it. But if there are literally hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people who are like, you know what, I'm not voting for that because I don't believe in the LGBTQ experience, like, that's harmful. So whenever people keep saying, oh, you know, right, Dustin, stop. Nah, it's very clear that you have a opinion about it, and most of y'all have a certain opinion about it. That's why, like, for me, like, I try not to, like, I just don't enter like certain like streams, because it's like if I have a conversation about it, it's gonna be a waste of my time, right? I'm on my own channel, and this is how the conversation is going. Like, imagine going to your channel or someone else's channel and trying to get that conversation or trying to get some sort of growth out of that conversation. That's not gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? As long as it doesn't interfere with biology. Oh Lord. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think I'll say this. I'll say this, Dustin. I think you try to be as welcoming as you can, but what you have to understand is when you say certain things and when you think certain things that are legitimately like opposed to me being able to do what I want to do, and that you are just like a bunch of other people who who think in that certain way and will not support us as a community or anything like that, like, Nah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Like I have to. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I gotta go. I gotta go get some laundry. I gotta go get some laundry. My laundry's just sitting there. Hold on. Give me a sec. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. All right. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I think I gotta make a decision. I gotta decide, like, again, right? Like, what sort of conversations do I want to have? What conversations do I feel like are productive? And right when I'm talking about productive, I'm like, when I have certain conversations, are people learning, people understanding certain things? Are they using those bits of information to better inform their initial thoughts on a particular topic? If you ain't doing that, man, I don't know. You know? Nah, I mean, I hope, like, the problem, again, Dustin, the issue is, like, you can have this mentality of I just think the way that I think, but it's like that's like again, that's like a willfully ignorant way to think, because you're like, oh, if I think the way I think, it's just me. But it's like, you do realize that, like, the way that you think, just in like a sociological, like, perspective, that's not how that works. There's not one person in this world that's like, oh, I only think the way that I think about topic A. Especially when it comes to, like, abortion or women's rights or the LGBTQ community. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. If you were thinking, if you have this notion of, like, how you don't believe that abortion is something that should happen or should occur, like, you do realize that there are, like, literally movements filled with millions of people that feel the way that you do about those things. And not only do they feel the way that you do about those things, they are actively trying to thwart women from being able to make decisions about their own bodies. Millions, right? So again, you can't be so willfully ignorant about these things. You can't just be like, oh, it's just me. Nah. Because again, these things, like these ideas, these opinions, these thoughts that you have, they are shared by literally millions of people. And those millions of people affect this country, right? The women in this country, men in this country. So it's just like, nah, stop. That's the stuff that bothers me. People are like, oh, I'm just me. I'm just my own person. You know, that's stop it, please. Like, you live in the United States of America, and that's what you rolling with. I'm just me. I'm just chilling in my chair. I'm just not affecting nothing. Just in a vacuum. My opinions aren't shared by nobody. I'm just me. Come on, man. So you have to make the connection, right? Now you got to make the connection, right? You have to make the connection. All right. I got to go because I got to make some laundry. And that's my cat. Aoife's also like, Aoife's a girl. She's also like, don't tell me what I can do with my body. Okay. But also, like, she's a cat. So that's not going to work, right? That doesn't work. Okay. Because she's a domesticated cat. All right. But you kind of get what I'm saying. All right. It's like, oh, my cat. No, Aoife's not mad. Aoife just is just very loud. She's very loud. She's probably the loudest out of all of our cats. But no. Dustin, you think you want open dialogue, and I think sometimes you do, but there are things that when we have a discussion about, it's very clear that you don't. You don't. All right. And I'm just kind of like done talking about those things. And I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, we don't need a debate. We don't want to debate about this stuff. It's just very clear what we want and what we should have, and we just want those things to happen. That's it. Period. Ain't no debate. I'm out of here. I gotta go get some laundry. All right. Thank y'all for coming through. I'm gonna try to have another stream about this topic in terms of like the Dwight Howard stuff. Like, I want to talk about that. All right, in depth. All right. So let me get out of here. I gotta go get some laundry. I'm the Black Manga Critic. Again, you want to be here on this channel, all right, and you want to support like the LGBTQ like community, and you want to support like women's rights, you want to support all those particular things that matter. Great. If you want to come in this channel and like berate women and berate people that are within the LGBTQ community, you want to do that? Bye. It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, for me, it's like, I'm good. All right. I'm tired. It is 10:40. I got to get out of here. All right. I'm the Black Manga Critic. And Kendra, love you. All right. And I'm out.